I mean, I like John so much. I actually worked with him in a picture, and we talked about it a couple of times. And I think that Quentin might still have it in the back of his mind somewhere. I don't know how they would work that out because we're both a little older now, but I've always wanted to do it, and so does John. So it's funny that it never happened, but I'd never say never about Quentin.
You know the oddball character that Tarantino is. He has dozens of movies planned, but they'll never be made because Quentin Tarantino is an oddball character. But this one was going to be called Double V Vega. So the movie would have been a crossover between Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, and it'll be John Travolta's character in Pulp Fiction and Michael Madsen in Reservoir Dogs, because those two characters are brothers.
I did know that. I never knew about this supposed film. So when was he thinking of making this?
He said this about 10 years ago when he was asked in interviews what the greatest idea that you had that you never got around to making. He said in the interview he didn't get very far with it at all, Declan. All he had was the premise, but the premise is fucking amazing. It would have taken place in Amsterdam, so the film would have been, for its duration, in Amsterdam. Now, before I even continue, think about that, like a Tarantino film in Amsterdam.
Also, obviously this has to be a prequel because they both die in both films. And Vincent Vega, the whole opening monologue that everyone loves is him talking about McDonald's in Amsterdam. I'm already picturing there's a scene where he goes to McDonald's and he's like, whoa, you have mayonnaise and your fries and shit.
Yeah, that would have been in it, essentially. But what it is was, it would have taken place in Amsterdam, and Vincent was running a club for Marsellus Wallace for a couple of years, and at some point during his 2 years that he spent running the club, Vic shows up to visit him, and it would have followed them over a weekend and what they got up to in Amsterdam.
Right, so over a weekend, so it's not like a crime caper type thing.
Nah, it would have just been like their antics, and think about it. Think of the chemistry of those characters just going around together, like fucking red light districts, fucking all that stuff.
That would have been sick.
It would have been a perfect Tarantino film, because think about the dialogue in his script, think about the crazy situations you could have had them doing, and the dialogues and the quips that would have come out of that. It would have been fucking immense, man.
Also, it would have extended his run of normal world films. Do you know what I mean? Where there's this, his career's kind of split in two, where the first three you got Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown. Like, they're stylized in his Tarantino sort of way, but they're very grounded and they're happening in the real world. And then you got his movie ones where everything's a callback to some other subgenre or exploitation, and they're silly, like Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, and they're all kind of rewriting history. Whereas his first three ones feels like it's taking place in our world, like our timeline. And as much as, you know, Kill Bill is fucking fantastic, I'll rewatch them both at least once every year. Inglourious Basterds is great fun, Django Unchained is great fun, but they're not, for me, on the same tier as your Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Browns. Even Jackie Brown, even though I'd put that slightly below the other two. Tarantino obviously is making exactly the kind of films he wants to be making, but I wish he'd made more films in the real world, because I feel like he's done the other thing so long, he couldn't go back. Technically, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a grounded real world film, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like one of his not real films. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
But obviously, unfortunately, Double V Vega will never happen now. Michael Madsen's sadly passed away, and according to all various reports, Tarantino's next film will be his last film. If you want to read about that, we have a post about it on Instagram. But yeah, sadly, this will never happen, Declan.
I'd love to do it, honestly, and I know John would too. So Quentin's in Israel now, but next time I talk to him, I'll tell him I think you might want to think about it for his last movie.
What do you think on Tarantino's whole 10th movie thing?
These are all reports, so nothing's confirmed, obviously, but he's said in various interviews that either he gets to a certain age, which is coming up anyway, or the 10th film, and that'll be his last. I think he'll make this film, which apparently follows a film critic, which sounds a bit boring, but this is Tarantino, so who knows what it'll be like. He can make anything exciting. This is Quentin Tarantino. I think he'll make the film, it will be critically acclaimed, and he'll be like, this is my last film. And then years later, he'll come back bombastically. You know, I can just picture it now. The trailers, all the grandeur of Tarantino's trailers, big writings coming towards you, Tarantino returns and all this. So I don't think it's true, personally.
Yeah, I think it probably is true, and he probably will stick to it because he's just a fucking psychopath. But part of you just thinks, why are you doing that for? It feels pretentious, it feels silly. It's that other thing as well where I feel like, you know, M. Night Shyamalan's pulled out some absolute stinkers. But one thing you gotta give it to him is he's not afraid to make a bad film. And he'll just try shit, whereas I think other directors get a bit too precious maybe with the idea of a legacy. It's like, you know, Stanley Kubrick ended up, the gaps between his movies were like 1 year, 2 years, 7 years, 8 years, 20 years, and it just becomes too much. And it wasn't because he couldn't be bothered to make a film. He got more and more obsessed and meticulous with finding the right script and, you know, reading thousands of scripts a year, and it's never the right one. And at the end of the day, you just got to be like, let's just try something and do it. And I feel like it's the same sort of thinking where Tarantino's so precious with his idea of his legacy. And it's also that same thing where he can't just make a film. There's got to be something creative and distinct about the way he makes the film and the way he presents the film. And, you know, like the whole fact that he's only going to ever make 10 films and this one will be his last. And he's said that for, you know, nearly 20 years now. And, you know, the romanticism, not just about the art, but the artist that he kind of tries to foster around himself. But at the same time, it's kind of brilliant that he does that. It is kind of genius because the best thing, like, there is something to be said that everyone starts producing shit in the end. Like, the only person that seems invulnerable to it is Martin Scorsese, but for the most part in any art form, everyone has a sell by date and eventually they start churning out shite, or just feels like they forget what made them good in the first place and they can't do it anymore. So the fact that he's just deciding he's gonna bow out at a certain point, it's actually kind of genius, and if he does stick to it, an amazing feat of self-discipline.
It's a bit like Clint Eastwood, because some of his directorial films are actually quite good in my opinion, like $1 Million Baby, another Gran Torino, but he's fucking 93 now and he's gonna make one last film, some jewelry films with Nicholas Hoult and all this, and it's like his last 3 films have been like Cry Macho and The Mule were fucking like terrible.
First of all, yeah, Eastwood's produced some unbelievable films, and he's been prolific. Like, he's been directing since the 70s, but he made a film about paranormal activities and ghosts and stuff, and it was just naff. And it was the first time where I was like, he's kind of lost his touch, and he's old as shit. Like, how you can't be sharp forever. Everyone has a sell by date, so fair play to Tarantino for just deciding it. Like, I saw him when he was on the Joe Rogan. He basically said, like, I know you're not saying that, but when people say that, but in a way what they're saying is, no, you don't get to be done. We decide when you're done by fucking not liking your shit anymore. And it is true, because it is like, no, you're not, don't stop making films. Like, or it's kind of like in football, you know, when you got a great coach at your team and he wins a title and then he wins the Champions League and then it goes. And from a personal point of view, you can get why you'd be like, no, I've won everything, so I'm done now. You, as the fan, you're just like, no, just do that forever. Don't worry about your personal life or wanting to move back to maybe your home country or pursuing a new challenge. Just do this thing I want you to do forever.
To be fair, on the football point, the whole Roy Hodgson thing at Crystal Palace surprised me, because his first few games he's done well, but now he's being found out a bit, and it's like these old coaches stick to like the old methods. It's like when I said to Ryan, they fucking Blackpool to try and save him from relegation hired Mick McCarthy, and I said to Ryan straight away, he's a steady hand, but he's gonna get found out. He's too old, and like he's getting beaten every game. Their ideologies are just historic. Like everyone,
iconic though.
Yeah, like
take my breath.
Yeah. When he just turns to the camera. But let's see if Tarantino does it. If he does do it, I respect him for that, you know.
And if he does come back, he should make the Vega brothers movie.
Who's gonna play Michael Madsen?
Deep fake.
yeah.
Fake that shit.